basically this video is going to be all about what I am seeing trending in my vicinity of fashion. So obviously I do trend prediction videos on this channel, but usually my trend videos are based on what's been on the runways, what's going on in trend forecasting reports, and also just kind of what's going on in the general zeitgeist of fashion in a way, so kind of the macro trends. But for this video I wanted to talk about more niche micro trends that I'm personally seeing my friends wear, what I'm seeing on social media, and also just kind of trends and different pieces and aesthetics that I am personally into at the moment. To be honest, I think I'm just intrigued to see if anyone else has noticed these aesthetics or these pieces crop up as micro trends at the moment, but nevertheless, this is what I'm into at the moment. This is what is trending in my world, in my vicinity of fashion. So let's get into it, and I really hope you enjoy. So the first piece that I want to talk about, I think it's a kind of obvious one, and I also don't think we've ever seen this type of top or this type of aesthetic trend in this kind of way except in 2024. So it's obviously these type of tie cotton tops. Obviously S_BA, like I've mentioned. Also this brand, they produce a top like this, I believe, as well. Also Bella the Studio and 1999 E Studio as well all do tops like this, but really there are so many examples of independent sellers who are creating tops like this. So I really think this is a huge micro trend. In a way, I think it's kind of a similar aesthetic to these ruffle peplum tops that have obviously been a trend in 2024. Again, there are a lot of small brands, independent sellers who are also making this kind of top, this kind of aesthetic popular as well. Obviously by Bambi, the small Australian brand that I've mentioned on this channel before. Also this Spanish small brand, again, that I've mentioned. I love their ruffle tops, especially their ruffle tartan sets. So cool. But really what I think defines this aesthetic are the peachy den ruffle tops in like black or the navy colorway. The next thing that's really trending in my world, my fashion world at the moment, are these curated vintage or archive sellers. So I've mentioned this sort of new wave of vintage selling on this channel before, and it really is because I am so obsessed with the concept. I think it's such a good idea. I'm basically talking about this way of vintage selling where you're creating a whole experience around the garments, basically having a showroom, and then the consumer's able to book a slot in the showroom and come and browse the pieces. This was obviously started by NHO Girl in Amsterdam. They really were the driver of this, and I think what's really interesting as well is that they've really created this kind of soft futurism or kind of brutalist aesthetic to go along with selling vintage clothes. I hope you know what I mean by that. Kind of this sort of industrial look, just being very minimalist and very raw with the content that they're producing to obviously promote their business and sell their clothes, but also with this element of futurism, sort of with the chrome furniture, chrome tables. I hope you know what I mean by that, but this is definitely a trend and definitely something that I'm seeing grow so much. Obviously a new one that I've just come across in London specifically is Barra Box. So again, they do a showroom in London, you make an appointment and then you can browse their archival designer pieces or their vintage pieces. There's also the new studio in the Netherlands that again has a very similar aesthetic, and also this UJNG. I'm really obsessed with this. This doesn't seem to be vintage pieces or archive pieces, but again this kind of very curated way of presenting and selling fashion with this very specific soft futurism aesthetic with the minimalism. This is just definitely a trend that I'm seeing in my world, so really intrigued to know if you've noticed these as well, and if you know of any more kind of showrooms or archival sellers kind of creating this whole experience. Would love to know about more, would love to check out more. The next thing that I'm personally seeing trending that has really only just cropped up recently is this cotton jersey pointelle fabric. So obviously you probably know that this has been made popular by Cuckoo Intimates. They are an amazing, really cute brand, and they do this kind of underwear, loungewear sets in this very specific fabric. And when I saw this, it was funny because it took me back to the thermal vests that I would wear as a child because it's made out of this exact pointelle fabric. And it's funny because obviously I love the brand Cuckoo Intimates, but you can definitely thrift pieces like this. I think if you just search thermal vest on Vinted or Depop, probably more on Vinted now because I bet on Depop they've started to get more expensive, but you can definitely find pieces that are made out of this specific fabric with this specific pattern and you're going to achieve the same look. It may be harder to get the actual vests in the kind of shape that Cuckoo Intimates do, but if you wanted a long sleeve vest with this pointelle fabric, I think you could definitely thrift one. But nevertheless, this is definitely a micro trend that I think has made its way onto the scene in full force. The next thing that I really wanted to mention that I'm noticing so much, it's really something that I noticed sort of in January, just at the start of the year, but now I'm seeing it literally everywhere I look. So if you've watched this channel before, you might know that I'm doing a master's at the moment, and I'm doing my master's at Central St. Martin's, and obviously people wear some crazy stuff there. There are so many well-dressed people, and recently when I was at CSM, I was just looking around and literally there were so many people wearing these types of skirts. So I'm talking about these puff sort of low-waisted long skirts. I think these are such a huge trend that I'm personally seeing. I also saw that Maha Amsterdam has posted a few pictures including these types of skirts, so I think that definitely shows that it is a up and coming trend, a trend that's bubbling up. It's certainly something that I'm seeing so much at the moment. I saw a great example on Beige Studios, also Brookit Calhoun as well, and also on Steel. I think they're all styling this type of skirt or producing a skirt like this in such a cool way. If you look at Erdem's Spring Summer 24 runway, I think they included skirts with this type of aesthetic. Also Suned Gori as well very much has skirts like this, specifically with this tartan piece and the white skirt as well. Kind of could be seen as influence for this type of long puff skirt, but really I do think that it's the influencers that are making this kind of aesthetic and this type of piece popular. So again, another thing that I'm seeing really trend in my world, my vicinity of fashion. And yeah, like I said, literally everyone is wearing these at CSM, so it's definitely a micro trend. So the next thing I want to talk about is cheetah print. Obviously cheetah print comes around all the time. We've also just seen the popularity of the mob wife aesthetic, and obviously within the mob wife aesthetic, cheetah print is a huge thing. But to be honest, this isn't about those kind of TikTok micro trends. These are really the underground trends in a way that I'm seeing trending, and I think that we are going to start to see cheetah jeans trend a lot. And it's what I'm starting to see become popular, and it's also just a piece that I am really wanting in my wardrobe at the moment. I just saw this picture and she's wearing what I believe are the Ganni cheetah print jeans. I did look on Depop to see if I could find any thriftable pieces, thriftable jeans that are this kind of faded cheetah print, but I couldn't really find any. These are the only two that I found, and they're obviously not in the UK, so I'm not going to buy them. And also they look like they're skinny jeans, which isn't really the vibe. I want them to be straight leg, sort of baggy, faded cheetah print. But that's definitely something that I am seeing a lot on Instagram and a lot sort of on the streets of London as well. People are definitely starting to style more denim cheetah print. So I have already mentioned this kind of new wave of European influencers that I think are really taking over Instagram at the moment. People like Rita Montezuma and Anais's Closet, and also this influencer as well. I just think they all have a very similar aesthetic, and I think they're definitely having an influence on micro trends. I think they're really starting to make these quilted jackets become a trend. Also similar to the quilted jackets, I'm seeing these combat vintage army jackets also become a trend as well. So obviously we know that so many fast fashion brands have ripped off this kind of aesthetic of jacket, but they have originally come from the lining of a combat jacket. So they are a vintage sort of army jacket, and I'm personally seeing these trend in my vicinity of fashion as well. Again, I do think they've been made popular by these European influencers. Actually really interesting, but I saw that it was also featured on the Philo Paris and Rock Official 24 runway, their autumn winter runway. This small brand Martha Stance sells a jacket like this. Also, actually, I saw a Vogue campaign with Lila Moss. Actually, I do believe this was the Erdem X Barber collaboration for Spring Summer 24, obviously with Lila Moss modeling this jacket. So again, shows it's a bit of a micro trend, definitely something and an aesthetic that I'm interested in exploring. Want to get more pieces like this for spring. And then the final thing that I am seeing trending is just interesting denim. So obviously dark denim co-ods I'm into, but specifically what I'm seeing as a new micro trend is sort of like denim waistcoats or denim tops, interesting denim tops. I also saw this picture from Maha where they were styling denim trousers or denim jeans obviously with denim shorts sort of attached onto them. I think this was really interesting, and I do think people are starting to experiment more with their denim, so that's something that I'm noticing for sure. Intrigued to know if you've seen it as well. I also saw this piece of content from the brand This Belongs To, and they were styling denim in interesting ways. So that was the last thing that I'm seeing trending in my vicinity of fashion. Like I said, this is really just what I'm seeing on the streets where I live, what my friends are wearing, what people at CSM are wearing, and also what I'm seeing on social media, and then also just what I'm into personally. But really intrigued to know if you're also noticing these trends, what you think of these trends. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, have an amazing day and I'll see you next time.